you, if at all?
Yeah, it's been definitely a challenge. I mean, I missed roughly, training's been modified since I had them. Like no plyometrics, no sprinting, very limited in the weight room. And yeah, so for not at all the ideal, the bread and butter of my taper is sprinting and plyometrics. So was very limited. And the last time I really threw hard was London Diamond League. And so it's been, an unfortunate preparation. The biggest thing has been since we found him, I've been lucky enough to have a fantastic medical staff around me to get me here safely, figure out what medication I can be on with World Athletics and the drug testing and all of that, and so figuring out how do we get me medicated within the rules and get me so I can travel safely, and then the third question is like, what can we do to help with training as well? And so, yeah, we came up with a good plan, and they just, at the end of the day, told me, here's the risks, here's some numbers that we have, and we'll leave the decision up to you if you want to travel or not. And so, but long answer to your question. So it has really impacted training a lot. At this point, it's like as safe as I'm going to be. And it's been just managing the pain and trying to figure out how to throw and figure out how to execute technically without any high intensity reps.
But when you're spinning tonight, are you feeling any pain, and are you doing anything differently because of it, or is it just as normal?
Yeah, so there's some constant pain. The physical activity doesn't seem to impact it as much. It's more just been constant pain management. And two of the issues that I've had is trying to throw while I was in a lot of pain caused some bad technical habits. So trying to avoid those when there still is a little bit of pain, and then B, just not having the high intensity number of reps. So through the rounds, I really built a lot. I feel like it was used kind of the years in the sport. And as a veteran, I tell athletes that I coach that you can make a mistake in a meet, just don't make the same mistake twice. And so I made 5 different mistakes each of the first 5 rounds, and but I didn't make the same one twice. And so by the 6th round, I had as close to a perfect throw as I've ever had. And considering the physical preparation that I've had and the physical capabilities I had tonight, and just my power output being significantly down, that was the best throw that I've ever had.
Since you didn't know that you had the blood clots, was it unwittingly was actually more dangerous 20 days ago when you were training than it was to be competing tonight?
Yeah, so I've seen like a fair number of people weighing in saying how dangerous it is, and I'm past the most dangerous part, knock on wood. Yes, because I trained for 10 days. Because the oddest thing is that I woke up with it, and we don't know exactly what caused it. Probably a number of factors. I got sick traveling back from London Diamond League. When I got home, I lost my sense of smell. So possibly COVID, most likely. So it is a symptom of that, as well as coming that with international travel, which can cause it, and then a 4-hour training session in 104 degrees, so a little dehydrated, and so 3 major factors the day before. And so that probably what had it, but then it didn't present with any of the typical symptoms: no swelling, no redness, no heat, no throbbing. So it was diagnosed, and I agreed completely with it, as a calf strain, possible slight tear. And so after 10 days of being relatively unresponsive to any treatments, my PT was like, man, I don't like the way that this looks. It's not sitting right with me. I want to get a Doppler before you travel. So the day before I was supposed to travel, Doppler showed 2 distal blood clots in the lower leg. And since then it's been a matter of, can I still do world champs? Can I mitigate the risks? What medication can we be on and still compete, still perform relatively well, and safely travel to and from Budapest?
What was the risk of going out there?
At this point, the biggest risk was getting here. That was really the biggest risk. The number one concern was, and it's a very, very small risk, but if the blood clots were to move, it'd be difficult diagnose a pulmonary embolism during a world championships because you're a little out of breath, you have a little tightness in your chest regardless. So we had talked about it beforehand on the slightest chance that something does happen. Like, we need to be able to recognize anxiety related to just world championship performance, one of the biggest meets of my life, to how do we differentiate that from a pulmonary embolism.
Given the context, is that the best performance of your career?
Oh, I think without a doubt. I mean, just wasn't in the physical shape that I had hoped to be. I think the performance that I had was a testament to the physical shape and preparation that I had. To still throw that with kind of a 20 days of pretty terrible limitations. I think tonight was the best performance that I've ever had, for sure. So I'm definitely just happy to be here, but also proud of overcoming, the most adversity I've had in terms of a major championship.
Would you ever said that you wouldn't want to do it?
What's that?
Would you have ever, at any point, would you have said that I don't want to do this, I don't want to take the risk?
Yeah, there was. If the clots had been higher, it would have definitely. They're very relatively distal, and so if you're going to have blood clots and travel, they're in the safest place they can be. And yeah, if the risks had been higher, there's a point that you have to say, it's not worth risking your life for it. And if I didn't have the faith in my medical team that I've been able to have, that would have been a limiting factor as well.
When the last throw left your hand, did you think it was a world record, and how much farther do you think it would have gone if you had a proper build-up?
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult to say how far I think it could have gone. When it left my hand, I thought it might be. I mean, it was definitely a better technical execution than my world record at UCLA. But yeah, just didn't have the power output out of the body today, and then combine that with an AM qualifying that was delayed and pushed up close. It was as close to a perfect throw as I've had. I think it would have been, I mean, if I had to throw a number out, I'd say I was missing 30 centimeters today, at least. So has me excited for the future, knowing that there's more there.
So do you think that you can get to 24 meters?
I think 24 meters is possible. I mean, so many factors come into it. I had the technical side of it today, maybe. Now we just need the physical preparation to hold together. But you're always chasing that perfect throw, and there's always something you could have done a little bit better, prepared a little better for. So all things considered, I threw the farthest today that I possibly could have.
What's the secret to performing when it counts?
I mean, it's the biggest thing I tell athletes is that you win a championship months in advance. Really, it's all the preparation that goes into it, and you can still lose a championship the night before. So it's a combination of having that long-term preparation and that short-term focus and execution. And I think for me, it's what helps me be successful is I'm not worrying about how far everybody else is throwing. I'm trying to throw as far as I possibly can, and chasing a personal best is always what motivates me. There's no better feeling to me in the world than throwing a PR and saying I'm the best I've ever been today. That's what has motivated me from the first time I stepped on the track when I was triple jumping and running on the relay. So same motivator, even though it's almost 20 years later.
You've talked about the